On April 2nd, there are going to be two different issues related to the public schools here in Jefferson City. The first one is a levy, and the levy is for 25 cents on $100 assessed valuation. And that's going to go towards four primary things. It's going to go towards improving our safety and security. So we're talking about improving our entrances to our schools, doors, surveillance cameras, things of that sort. The second thing is going to, are you picking me up okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Second thing is going to be about improving our technology district-wide. And we're talking about our infrastructure as much as we are about actually adding technological tools. So it's not just purchasing computers. It's about making sure that we have a great bandwidth for our students and staff to have, as well as the technological tools and computers, iPads, whatever it might be to help us as we instruct students. It's also going to be about transportation. We currently have a transportation system where if you're a student in grades pre-K or K through 8 and you live outside of a mile, you qualify for public school transportation. But once you get to 9th grade through 12th grade, it has to be outside of 3.5 miles. So we want to shrink that radius to a mile for the entire district. So that'll help. And then the last component is for our staff development, to be able to provide better professional development to our staff, whether they be a pre-K teacher or a high school teacher. That's the levy issue, okay? Do you want me to talk about bond now?
I do.
Okay. The second thing that folks will be voting for is the bond issue. And the bond issue is 30 cents, and that will go towards building a new Jefferson City High School for students in grades 9 through 12. We've already purchased the property on Highway 179 in Mission Drive next to the new St. Mary's Hospital. And it'll also go towards building a new East Elementary School. Currently, East Elementary School is not only one of our older schools, but it is bursting at the seams, and we have students going to class in trailers, and that is really not an ideal situation. We've purchased the land 3 years ago for a new East Elementary School. That would be part of the bond issue. That land is on East McCarty, and it actually abuts the property for Lewis and Clark Middle School. So it's right down near the corner of Eastland and East McCarty.
So what are the plans for both the old Jefferson City High School and the old East Elementary? Okay,
let's start with the high school. The high school facility, including the Nichols building, but not the vocational programs, the high school building, Nichols building, and Simonson 9th Grade Center will be sold to Lynn State Technical College and to Lincoln University. We've already agreed on terms on that. Lincoln University would take over the high school in Simonson. They are growing at Lincoln. They need more classroom space, more gym space. There's another cafeteria for them. They'll move into those facilities. And then Nichols Career Center would be taken by the Lynn State Technical College. And we're excited about that from an economic standpoint. Having Lynn State come into Jefferson City is a really positive thing. Again, though, I want to make it clear that we'll continue to offer the programs, the vocational and technical programs at the high school, but Lynn State will come in and have their post-secondary programs.
Okay, and then East Elementary?
East Elementary, the current facility still serves us very well. However, as I mentioned, we've outgrown it. We currently have Jefferson City Academic Center. That's our alternative high school. We see placing JCAC, Jefferson City, that particular program into the East Building. And then where that facility is being vacated, it's the Miller Center, we'll probably move some of our programs that are currently existing in other areas around the state, around the community, into the Miller Center. So East will become JCAC.
So you would just kind of shift the different
There's a little
facilities
bit,
around.
right. JCAC currently serves about 180 students. It could be a little high, a little low on that. But we have a waiting list for that program. It's a great program. And one of the things that's really good about JCAC is that it has a really low student-teacher ratio. So we have to be careful. We want to grow the program, but we don't want to grow it so much that we lose the very component that makes it special. So we would put them at East. That way they would have their own cafeteria. Right now we have to bring food down from Simonson for those students, and they would have a better gym area, plus they'd have better classroom, library, etc.
So for people that are maybe on the border as to whether or not they want to approve the tax levy and the bond issue, what would you tell them? Why should they approve it?
You know, it really comes down to space first and foremost. Our kindergarten class is the largest class we've ever had for the Jefferson City Public Schools. It's almost 800 students. And our first, second, and third grade classes are very large also. Simonson Ninth Grade Center and the high school are overcrowded. By the time those students reach Simonson and the high school, we're going to be in a really difficult situation. We just don't want to put our students in that space where they're just cramped. They need a little bit of space. So it's a space issue first and foremost, but there's also some other things, as I mentioned, with the levy that we can take care of.
Do you think overcrowding is an issue? You know, you mentioned that's why the new East Elementary and the new high school is being built. Do you think that's a problem in the district?
Oh, it is absolutely a problem in the district. Well, I should look at it this way, okay? It's a positive thing, but it's also a concern, okay? Because we're talking about, we've grown by 300 or 400 students over the past, 4 or 5 years. And in some districts, that may not be a very big, that's not a lot of growth, but for us, we haven't seen that kind of growth in a long time. And based on the demographic study that we're looking at, we can't tell you for sure if this is a 4 or 5 year slot of students coming through, but it looks like we may very well continue to see that kind of growth. And if that's the case, we have to grow with it. So it's definitely a concern, but we feel like we can serve those students well. Right now, our elementary schools, for the most part, are doing fine. East is an example that is beyond capacity. We have a couple other schools that are close. Our middle schools are doing okay, but we're certainly keeping an eye on them. But when they get to Simonson in the high school, we've got some real space issues.
Do you have any plans to build new middle schools or other elementary schools at any point in the future?
Well, we actually have a committee right now that is studying long-term growth and long-term facility upgrades. You know, we live in a very conservative community, and we recognize that and we appreciate that. So if we can make the existing facilities work, we're going to do that. A lot of our schools are great. You know, even some of the older schools serve us very well. But we would look down the road and say, you know, we're not going to rule it out, okay? We're seeing, for example, quite a bit of growth across the river. We have a lot of students in Callaway County, at Holt Summit, at Callaway Hills. If those numbers continue to grow, I'm not saying we're looking at a high school there, but I could certainly say that I imagine that they will be looking at a middle school at some point.
Do you have a time frame for construction of the new high school and the new elementary school?
New high school would be the first priority. If this passes on April the 2nd, we believe that we'll be opening doors for the new high school in August 2016. Chances are the same thing will happen with the elementary school. It'll be a lot quicker build. So we would like to think that probably the same time it would open up, but I don't have an exact time frame on the new elementary school.
Then if both of these were passed in a couple of weeks, do you think that people would actually, they would feel the difference, they would feel the increase at all, or is it something kind of just they wouldn't really notice? Well,
I would never underestimate a tax increase on how it's going to affect anyone. An increase is going to be something that people are going to look at and they're going to say, well, yeah, it's gone up. Am I getting bang for my buck? And the answer, we think, is absolutely. You know, I know it may sound cliche, but really your educational systems are kind of the backbone of your community. If you have strong schools, your community tends to thrive as well, and that's how we look at this. So it's primarily to help our kids as far as giving them the space that they need for a great education, but economically speaking, it's a good thing for our community too. And I already mentioned Lynn State coming in and Lincoln expanding. Those are good things. And frankly, when you build a new high school, there's going to be a lot of construction that takes place right here in Jefferson City. And the way we have this high school set up is that it can be broken into packages, so our local contractors will be able to bid on this. They'll have the bonding capacity and so hopefully we'll keep a lot of that construction money local.